Welcome back to another episode of Legal Stories. Today we're looking at the case of the Attorney General versus Rosemary Mulenga. This is a famous Zambian case about medical care and what happens when a simple clinic visit goes very wrong. Back in August 2004, a 50-year-old woman named Rosemary Mulenga felt unwell with a cough and a headache. She went to George Clinic, a government facility in Lusaka, for help. The doctor prescribed 5 injections. Everything was fine with the first 2 injections, but during the third injection, Rosemary knew something was wrong. She could smell the medicine strongly. She started bleeding at the spot where she was injected, and she felt a sharp, excruciating pain. That night, she couldn't sleep and even had heart palpitations. The next day, Rosemary went back to the clinic and told the nurse about her pain. The nurse told her to just massage the area and put ice on it, but the pain only got worse. Days later, her legs started swelling. She went back to the doctor at the clinic and begged to be sent to the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, for a second opinion. Surprisingly, the doctor refused, saying a referral wasn't necessary, and just gave her more painkillers. Finally, Rosemary went to a private doctor who suggested an x-ray. When she finally got the x-ray at UTH, it revealed a shocking truth. A hypodermic needle was stuck inside her body. By the time she was operated on to remove it, about 85 days had passed since that injection. Because she had been moving and massaging the area as taught by the nurse, the needle had moved from her buttock to the perineum, which is the very sensitive area between the genitals and the anus. Rosemary sued the government, represented by the Attorney General, for 45 million kwacha unreimbursed in damages for the pain and suffering she went through. The government fought back. They brought in an expert doctor who argued that it was scientifically impossible for a needle to move that far inside a person's body. They also argued that because pain and bleeding sometimes happen with injections, it didn't prove the nurse was being careless. The Supreme Court looked at the following: duty of care. The court ruled that the nurses and doctors had a duty of care. This means they had a legal responsibility to treat Rosemary with the same skill and caution that any reasonable health worker would use. Circumstantial evidence. The government argued there was no direct proof that the nurse broke the needle, but the court used circumstantial evidence. This means the court looked at the facts surrounding the event, like the pain starting exactly at the moment of the third injection and the needle being found later, to reach the only logical conclusion: the needle broke during that injection. Res ipsa loquitur. This means the thing speaks for itself. The judge decided that a needle doesn't just end up inside the patient's body unless someone was being negligent. Because the needle was there, the burden shifted to the clinic to prove they weren't careless, which they couldn't do. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of Rosemary Mulenga. They found the nurse was negligent for breaking the needle and failing to notice it, and the doctor was negligent for refusing to refer her for a second opinion when she was in so much pain. What can we learn from this case? First, professionals must listen. Medical workers should never ignore a patient's persistent complaints of unusual pain. It is often the first sign that something is wrong. Second, the right to a second opinion. If a patient is not getting better, doctors have a duty to consider a referral. Refusing to refer a patient who is in excruciating pain can be a breach of professional duty. Third, negligence. You don't always need a video of an accident to prove it happened. If the result is something that shouldn't happen under normal care, like a needle left in the body, the law can conclude there was negligence. Fourth, science is always evolving. The court noted that medical science is dynamic. Just because something is hard to explain doesn't mean it didn't happen. Common sense and the facts of the case are just as important as academic theories. Fifth, responsibility for mistakes. If a professional makes a mistake, they have a duty to discover it and fix it. Failing to realize a needle has broken and failing to tell the patient is a serious failure in care. Thank you for watching Legal Stories. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you in the next episode.